everybody. I'm here with your astrology report for December. I did film this last week, and then the footage, something happened to it, and I was going to upload on Friday, and it was just I had to get rid of it. So I'm recording this again, and I know it's a little bit late. It's already, I think, December 6th, but hey, better late than never, right? And we have a lot to talk about for December. I am going to go through them in order in a minute, but I want to talk about the big one that's happening, which is the Saturn and Jupiter conjunction, also known as the Grand Conjunction, that's coming up on December 21st. Saturn and Jupiter are going to meet up at 0 degrees of Aquarius. They're both shifting from Capricorn into Aquarius, so it's a big deal. They meet up every 20 years or so. However, this is the start of a new 200-year cycle. So every 200 years, they shift the type of signs that they meet up in. So the past 200 years, they've been meeting up in earth signs. Now they're going to be meeting up in air signs. So it does change the tone of things. When the last cycle started was back in, I can't remember the year exactly, but early 1800s, Industrial Revolution, and now we're moving into air signs, which is more about, technology, communication, ideas. It's all about the intellect as opposed to physical things. So interesting start. Don't expect anything giant or dramatic to happen that day, but watch for little things that may show you kind of what the tone is, because we're going to see it evolve over time. It's kind of like the last big conjunction between two big planets that we were talking that in 2020 was at the beginning of 2020. We had Saturn and Pluto meet up in the sky, and people thought, oh, nothing dramatic happened. However, there was a little article that came out about a virus that was going around in China, and of course, that became huge. So watch for little things that may become big things on December 21st. But like I said, even, if you don't feel anything dramatic, you probably won't. It's more about a shift in tone, a shift in our focus on things over the next. It's a cycle that's going to go on for 200 years. So none of us is going to live to see the end of the cycle. So it should be interesting anyway. But look at your Aquarius house. If you know your chart, look at your house that's ruled by Aquarius. That's going to show you where for at least the next 2.5 years, you are going to have to put work into. So Saturn goes through each sign. It takes about 2.5 years or so to go through a sign. And so that is showing us Saturn's about work. He's about restrictions. He's about responsibility. However, he promises you that if you do the hard work, you will get rewarded. Don't do the hard work and you'll suffer the consequences. So look at that house and think to yourself, where do I need to put work into? What do I need to work on? What restrictions do I need to accept in this area? And you'll be rewarded. And also reflect on your Capricorn house. What was the work that you put in? What were the restrictions that you dealt with? How did you handle it? What lessons did you learn over the past 2.5 years? So it's a really great time to do some reflecting. We also had, like I said, Jupiter moving into that sign as well. Jupiter is the planet of good luck and expansion and things that come easy to us. And so he's saying that over the next year, put the hard work in, and I'll also help you out with a little good luck this year. So take a look at that as well. And Jupiter just, spends about a year in each sign. So that's what's coming up. I think I'll do like a 2021 thing at the end of the month, just giving you some overview of some major things for 2021. But for now, we'll just talk about December. So let's go in order. We talked about the conjunction. The first thing that happened, and this is already happened, is on November 30th, we had a lunar eclipse, yes, in the sign of Gemini at 8 degrees of Gemini. And lunar eclipses tend to shed light on things that have been hidden. And so you may have had some things come to light. You may have learned some new information. And this is in order to help you let things go at the solar eclipse, which is coming up on December 14th. On Tuesday, December 1st, we had Mercury move into the sign of Sagittarius. Mercury is in charge of communication, the way that we speak to each other, the way that we think even, how we talk. And before, he was in Scorpio, which is really intense, a lot of intense conversations. Right now, he is in Sagittarius, so it's all about communicating joy, communicating laughter, having fun, being optimistic. The downside with Mercury and Sagittarius is sometimes we are, it's a very honest type of placement. However, sometimes we put our foot in our mouth. Sometimes we're too honest. Sometimes we blurt things out without meaning to. So be patient with others if they do that. If somebody does that, just say did you really mean that? And be patient with yourself as well. Tuesday, December 8th, Athena, the asteroid that's in charge of strategy, it is in charge of career women. It is in charge of also, like, to a certain extent, like, I feel like it's connected with justice around women. It's moving into the sign of Aquarius. So it's going from Capricorn, where it was all about strategizing around work and day-to-day things and in government and business. And now it's going to Aquarius, where it's asking us to look at things on the overall humanitarian picture. It's a little more rebellious. It is also very much about doing things in a new way. So watch for some issues around, like, women's issues coming up and being dealt with in a new way, or coming out more on social media. On Monday, December 14th, we have our solar eclipse at 23 degrees of Sagittarius. This is a solar eclipse where we have Venus making a sextile with Jupiter, and we also have Mars making a trine with, Mercury making a trine with Mars. So it's a very energized solar eclipse. It's also one where there's a little bit of good luck that comes with it. This is an eclipse that's really about endings, because solar eclipses that are conjunct the South Node has to do with karma and the past and wrapping things up. And so this solar eclipse is really about wrapping up some issues. Because it does have some positive aspects here, there is, like, it's sort of like an ending that's good news. We're happy about it. We're like, okay, I can finally move on. I can get things done. So just watch for that on Monday. You'll probably feel the effects a little bit towards that. Tuesday, December 15th, Venus is moving signs from Scorpio, which is not a sign she's, like, super duper happy to be in. It is a sign where she's very intense. She moves into Sagittarius, where she wants to be fun and flirty. She wants to have adventures. She doesn't want to be held back. So it's kind of like some fun and adventure goes into our love life, but also in the way that we express ourselves on an artistic level. There's more joyfulness. There's more fun to it. Thursday, December 17th is when Saturn goes into Aquarius. So that's a day where, hey, look at if there's any changes going on, especially in the house that Aquarius rules, because that is something that you're going to be working with for the next 2.5 years, as I mentioned. Then Saturday, December 19th is when Jupiter moves into Aquarius as well. So they start again. You're going to see some tonal changes, some things that are happening. Probably bring some good luck into that house. We also have Juno, the asteroid that's in charge of marriage and partnerships. She is going into Sagittarius. So again, she brings fun to partnerships. Even if you're not in a partnership, Juno says, how do you partner yourself? How do you honor yourself? How do you bring self-love to yourself? And she's saying, have some fun. Sunday, December 20th is when Mercury moves into Capricorn. So he goes from that fun-loving, happy, joyful, little too blunt, Sagittarius. He goes into Capricorn, where he's more serious and more thoughtful. We tend to think a little more before we speak. He's a little more hardworking, more practical. Sometimes he can be a little bit of a downer when he's in this sign, but, he is very, very practical and wants to get things done. So, our tone kind of turns to, like, okay, the new year is coming. Let's get organized. We have these new energies going on in our lives. How are we going to organize this? What do we need to do about this? We're going to talk a little bit more seriously about that. Monday, December 21st is when we have that big conjunction. It's also known as the grand mutation, because they're changing from, one element to another. So we have Jupiter conjunct Saturn on that day. Jupiter conjunct Saturn on that day. And that's, again, when we have that shift. Like I said, don't expect anything hugely dramatic, but just maybe watch for how things, like the tone of things, changes. And we also have the sun moving into Capricorn on that day, because it is the solstice. Here in the Northern Hemisphere, it is the darkest day of the year. We already have, like where I live, because it's Canada, where we're not that far north, but, we're more north than the States. The sun here is going down at around like 4 o'clock already. So it's getting dark. It's getting dark. 3:30, 4 o'clock. By 5 o'clock, it is dark. It is black out. I go for a walk sometimes at 5, and it's like, it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon and I'm walking in the dark. So, yes, I don't mind, like, the darker days, but it is, especially when you're in the house all day and then you finally go for a walk for fresh air and it's nighttime. It's a little weird. Anyway, Sun goes into Capricorn, and so he moves from kind of that holiday, preparing for holidays type of focus towards the more serious focus of, okay, it's the new year. Capricorn's also a very traditional sign, and of course the holiday season is all about traditions. So no matter what you celebrate, whether it's Christmas or Yule or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or whatever it is you celebrate, it's all about traditions, right? And the focus on traditions. And I know this year for a lot of us, it is going to be quite different. We're not going to be visiting, at least I'm not going to be visiting people because I want to make sure that everyone is safe so I can see them next year. But we might feel some of that loss of like around traditions just because there's such a focus on that at this time of year. Tuesday, December 29th, we have a full moon that is not an eclipse of any kind in the sign of Cancer. So this is a full moon, I think, to really express some gratitude, especially around the comforts of home. Cancer is all about the comforts of home. It's about home and family and nurturing and food and how we comfort ourselves on an emotional level. And I think that this year has been one where we've really had to discover, how do we comfort ourselves while we stay in our homes? How do we nurture ourselves? How do we nurture others on an emotional level? And so I think this is a full moon to really express gratitude for those things and to reflect on those things. So it is a fairly quiet full moon on that day. So that's what I'm seeing for the month of December. If you have any other thoughts or observations, please put in the comments below. I always love to see the comments. Thank you so much for watching me. And the year's not ended yet, but thank you for being my company during this weird year. It's been so lovely to see all the comments and things. And thank you, of course, to my patrons. You guys are amazing. We're actually working this month in our coven with Jupiter, the god of luck and wealth and expansion, about bringing some prosperity and abundance magic into our lives. Even in this, weird atmosphere, we can still bring a little joy and abundance into our lives. So if you're interested in joining, it's not too late. You can come and join us. We are also reading Sigil Witchery is the book that we're reading in our Coven book club too. So if you want to come join us, I'll put the links to the Patreon below. Thank you to all my patrons so much. You guys are amazing. Thank you for all of your support, especially a big shout out to Marie, Nathan, and Nicole. You guys are awesome. All of you. Thank you for watching. As always, peace and love and